Alright. Okay. So we're gonna do this. This is still lab 4. We're still doing lab 4. We're gonna look at the revolve options a bit. Alright. Alright, so let's just go to Maya for that. Now what I will do is I will hide this. I'll select the NURBS surfaces that we did earlier and hide that by pressing H on my keyboard. Now with the okay, let me just unhide that again, sorry. Alright, no, I think what I'll do is I'll just move this aside because we're trying to demo this new thing here, which is the revolve options, which is basically this. Now I'm gonna put this to the side. Why? Because in the next step I'm gonna do something different. I will go to surfaces, revolve, and I'll go to the options box at the end here, right? Just minimize this. Okay, so if you see here, the way it works is basically with the settings that we have at the moment, which is basically your default settings. The axis preset is Y, means that Y is basically this green arrow that's pointing up. That's the Y axis. So it will revolve around this vertical axis. So if your curve is being drawn differently, perhaps by using, instead of side X, you're using top view, or front view, then your axis preset would be something different. It's hard to explain this, but just bear in mind, if you have problems with revolving your surface, most probably it has to do with the axis preset. Okay, what else can we see here? We can see here that we can actually define the sweep angle, so it doesn't have to be a complete 360. You can specify it to be 180. For instance, if I set it to be 180 and I hit apply, I'll get only half of a vase. Yeah, right. So I'll just reset the settings. Going to edit, reset settings there. We can also specify that how many segments we want. So the more segments we have, the smoother it is. And also the output geometry. Right now this is NURBS. Basically NURBS is made up of vertex, control vertices, and isopalms, right? So that's what you get. But you can actually specify to have the output as polygons. So you can hit polygons here, and you can just give it a try and hit apply, and you'll see that what you get here is basically a vase, which is a polygonal mesh, because if I go to face, I can select the face and go to edges and select the edges and so on. But this is not very useful because it's made up of triangles, as you can see here. Well, if you're modeling something for a game environment or for a VR system, as best as possible, you want your polygonal mesh to be triangles. But in our case, we're just modeling it could be for animation, it could be for film, but yeah, eventually if you want it to be featured in games, you might want to turn it into triangles. So this is not useful. So we want it to be, instead of triangles, we want it to be quads. So what I'll do is I'm going to select this and delete it first, and I will select my curve, and instead of letting it be triangles, I'll say I want it to be quads. And doing this a lot, it seems that control points gives us a much better output result. So I say polygons, quads, control points, and hit apply, and you'll see that we get this. Alright, I want to pause a second here, just minimize this guy, and I want you to look at this. First things first, it looks black, so that's pretty much wrong, but we can fix this and we can flip the polygons. So I will go to let me see if Oh, here it is. So I will go to mesh display and say reverse. And what we get now is all of our polygons are looking white, gray now, just like what we see here. But it doesn't look smooth, isn't it? It looks very much tessellated, like, you know, it has hard edges here. So mind you, what we see here is currently our mesh in polygonal mode. Yes, we can select the faces, we can go to edge mode, and we can tweak it to our liking, right? So we have more control, but it's not smooth. But remember our shortcuts of 1, 2, and 3. So I'm flipping from 1, this is 1, this is 2, the control cage with the subdivision preview, and 3 is basically how the mesh looks like if you were to subdivide it. Right, and if you unselect, you'll see that, oh, it looks more or less the same. And we can make it much smoother if we run a subdivision algorithm to it. So right now it's smooth, but we can always press 1 on our keyboard and we can still edit it to our liking. For instance, I could select that and extrude perhaps, and say let's just make this smaller. Let's just make something like a window going on here, so I'll extrude again and do something like that. So it gives us much more control, and we can still edit it to our liking. Like, you can't do the same thing with the NURBS surface because you can't select the faces. So if you know, so I hope that gives you an idea about why a lot of people find polygonal meshes kind of more useful. It has more control, you can edit it to your liking, and so on. Alright, I think it's been too long already. Let me just go through the handout and see. So we've covered that, all that. Wireframe, auto side, move. Alright, we've done all this. Yeah, we have the attribute editor if you want to still edit it. So I'm not going to talk about that. That's just if you want to tweak further, you can go inside the attribute editor here. So if I were to select that, and I don't have my attribute editor there, so I'll press Ctrl A. It's here actually. I can actually go inside Revolve here, and I can play around with the Revolve value. So it is still live. It doesn't mean that after you run the Revolve operation, your NURBS is pretty much fixed or permanent. You can still edit it in the Revolve tab inside the attribute editor. By right, your attribute editor sits here. Okay, so mine is detached from the side here. So yeah, so this is basically my NURBS. I'm editing my NURBS here. Alright, and you also know that you can select the curve. So let me just, okay, this is hard to select, so let me just find my curve here. Where is it? Oh, I think I messed up with, I think it's that, because I move it to the side. Okay, anyway, let's talk about this a bit. So that's my curve, yeah. My curve is inside my polygonal mesh here, right? So if I were to move my curve, you see that everyone is updating. You see that? If I were to do that, everyone's moving. Even if I were to go to control vertex, and if I were to select that and edit that, it's updating both of my meshes. So what's going on here? Right, it needs to be said that what we have here is basically a live, these two are live surfaces that are still connected to our curve here. So what we need to do in order for it to do not have a link with the curve anymore is to do this. So I'm going to select my NURBS here, and I'll go to edit, delete by type, and I'll say history. Okay, notice what happens at the side here when I do that. Okay, delete by type history. You see that my Revolve tab is gone. Now if I select my curve now, and if I were to move this, only this mesh here is updating, whereas this one, it doesn't really care what's going on with the curve. So I now have this mesh here that is disconnected from that curve. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Do give it out a try, and just be comfortable with making NURBS surfaces for now, and we'll continue with the handout in the next video. See you.